My name is Donnell Darian, and I'm humbled to share part of my testimony, part of my story for you as a part of the Breaking and Change movement. Really trying to designate it to save our youth and also bring some information and wisdom to brothers like myself who have been through the system. So I would like to take this opportunity to answer a few questions, but first I briefly want to mention about myself. Grew up in New York, Long Island particularly. Without all the details, I started hitting the streets at 14, been in and out of various institutions, jails and such until I went to the county jail for a year. Lost my father within there, and then I caught a 10-year federal prison sentence at age 22, which I did 8 years of, and was released now 13 and a half years ago in 2008. I like to say that a big part of my lifestyle growing up that really led was the inner rages that I possessed, and also a harsh disciplinary home that I had to endure with my father. I had some abandonment issues that I dealt with my biological mother not being there for me since I was young, and for whatever the various reasons was, but I've always dealt with that, and it was always a protective part of myself, you know, to step up in defense of that hurt. And my father, who loved me and my 4 sisters very much, but was a very strong disciplinarian, kind of borderline abuse, not to mar his memory, but it's just the truth. So a lot of that led to me rebelliousness and seeking out more familiarity with people in the streets, and then that also gave me an outlet for some of my inner rages and hurts to take it out. And I've always lived by a stance that I will hurt others before they hurt me. So yeah, I hit the streets at 14, started drug addiction, smoking, drinking, smoking cigarettes, selling drugs, and then eventually graduated to robbery, which was what I was well known for in my town. Robberies, stick-ups, selling drugs, all of the nature, which led to various parts of being arrested for different things, and which led to also my incarceration in the county for a robbery charge and a drug charge, and then ultimately to my federal sentence for selling guns and narcotics. But that's another story. So I'm very thankful for the early parts of it, but there was a lot of pain and anguish that kind of contributed to my pathways to incarceration. And once you get started, it's very hard to get off of it, because you really, it's only through hindsight I'm able to share with you right now with clarity, because before it was just a more of conflict and just go. So that was a big part of my early beginnings. First touching that is I remember being young, and when I had to turn myself in for my longest sentence. My father I seen the night before. I had to go in. I was 18, and I had to do a year. I had 18 months, but I had to do a year inside of Riverhead County Jail. And I remember looking at his face, and it felt like I failed him, because he heard of and knew that as a young man, regardless how tough and strong I was entering into a world of grown men, almost like a high school student getting to the NFL and playing with grown men. It's a grown man's game now. And I had the confidence of myself and my experiences from the streets. So, and also I had God's grace and mercy. I would definitely love to say that, which I didn't know at the moment, but I thought it was me that was going to make it through. But a prisoner faces the challenges of being around every day about grown men with families, and grown men hurt and pains and anguishes and demons. So when you get in there, it's unsurety. You know, you don't know how it's going to take, how you have to defend yourself, what's at stake. You really are ignorant and naive, even if you are wise or intelligent of the streets until you get incarcerated. It's a whole other ball game. So that right there was something that's going to face all young prisoners, the newness of it, and getting past the flutteries and the butterflies and all of the things that come along with it, being chosen and picked on as a fresh fish or fresh new meat, with these terms they use, which I never stood by, because, you know, I have ground to stand on no matter how old. And that's just another thing. You're going to have to become truly defensive. You'll become something that you may not want to be, or you're going to become something that's already inside of you, because there's no other way around it. You have to survive, and you have to make it home. And a lot of times people don't make it home the way they left. And I was fortunate to make it home the way I left, and in the right state of mind and the right state of body. So I'm very thankful for that. Over time, you become more comfortable in the world you live in. It's not just a jail, it's not just a prison, it's your home, because you have to make it that, you know? And if you don't, you always will struggle. So what happens is, especially now for our younger generations, they have telephone, video games, you have access to the outside world inside these prisons. They make it very comfortable. One thing you're missing is certain relationships and things of that nature. But it's not as strenuous no more. So over the course of a period of time, you become comfortable in your environment and who you are and what you are, the system. You're part of the system. You know, it's not always cries and tears. It's laughter and fun, and there are good times inside of the prison, behind the prison wall, or even in the county jails. There's different things, and one thing I would like to share is that there's different perspectives. This is just mine and part of my journey. But I've been with other people that may not say the same. Their challenges and what they face. Sometimes you come in as a young person, you can do 5-6 years and still leave out under that same tenseness and timidness. Depending on your personal journey, mine's just a little bit different. And I pray that one day I'll be able to share that in a more expounded nature coming forward. Outside of the favor, the grace and mercy that God has bestowed upon me, the prison system actually has made a large part even while we're speaking now. Because of my prison journey that I'm speaking to you in this manner, I live a life and a testimony of transparency based on my experiences. And without the total of 10 years incarceration time before I was 30, which I've been around a lot of brothers and friends of mine who exceed that in time and also still inside, you know. So the man I am today could not have been any different if it wasn't shaped by the man and the young man, the trials and tribulations that I went through, starting at age 14, which up to right now, which I'm blessed in a couple of days to be 44. So you figure 30 years of an intimate relationship with streets, imprisonment, post-release, and now giving back. So that is a beautiful process, not one that I wish I didn't take on up front. I didn't want that to be the case. My parents sure didn't want it. My family didn't want it. But this was a part of my journey and a part of my testimony that God allowed me to endure in order to give back in this manner. So prayerfully to help save someone that can relate to the process. So through the wisdom of everything we had to endure, they can use that and be wise to not have to get this and can have a story without having to endure. And that's what we're seeking to do as far as breaking the chains, to provide wisdom to young, intelligent brothers and sisters that can come to the same understanding and to give a story without having to endure lengthy times of imprisonment or incarceration and the pain and anguishes that come along with that. Because truthfully, although you get a story and you can share it, there was a lot of hurts and things that we wish we can take back, and not just inner hurts given out to others. I've hurt my family, my children. I'm blessed to have 6 children today, but when I was incarcerated for the feds, I left my daughter at 1.5, and my son wasn't born. Now, God bless, I'm a grandfather. My oldest daughter, who I left, I'm able to see my young granddaughter, Anais, and my son, who I wasn't born. He is in the Navy in Japan, serving the same country that imprisoned his father, in an ironic twist. And now he's over there serving at 20 years old. So it's a blessing, you know, to be able to lose but then gain. And that's truly all that part of God's gift. I mean, like I said, I was released June 20th, 2008. And one of the largest things that was difficulty was adapting and adjusting to a new world. You hear that a lot. It's a new world because time doesn't stop for you. And as equipped and intellectual that I am, it's still, you can't really catch up to all the time missing just be thinking you're going to think it through. You have to live in it, and there's emotions with that. So one thing that was really challenging was adjusting to the new world that we're coming home to and the expectations of that. A big challenging, a second challenging point for me was, who was I? You know, before I went to prison, before I was gone at 22 years old, I was a strong young man, basically running my own business, entrepreneurial. It was negative, you know, but I was CEO, corporate style. I had pride, achieved things, accomplished some things, and then for 8 years, I still did various parts of that. But here, who am I? Who am I going to be? So I fought a lot with trying to see who was the man before or who's this new person. And that was a big difficulty because you don't know, and you have to come to terms with who you really want to be in this world. But I had family, and I had people that believed in me, you know. And as that came out, even when your low points, when you don't see your own way out, when people are behind you, because a lot of people don't come home to family. You may have done things to discourage or separate yourself from your family, and they're not there for you. And I was fortunate to have that, to go back and to be able to be lifted up in time when I was very weak. A second point is belief in myself. That really helped. I believed that I could be better. I always knew inside of my heart, even through the conflicts, that I was made for more. I just didn't know what it was, but I wasn't going to let what happened to me determine and stop me. So I humbled myself and took various small jobs, but I believed that I always was going to grow and had the potential, and thank the Lord I did. And I followed my 3Ds, which was very helpful: dedication, discipline, and determination. And through that, come home from prison, from 6 months free in January 2009 up to May of 2014, I received 3 degrees, associates, a BA and an MBA from 2 various schools. And I was proud because I stuck to my 3Ds, and that helped keep me on a journey. And I know that if it was done for me, it can be applicable to those others. It may not be in the same format because I was also blessed with certain gifts, but it can be applied to whatever you want, and you can make changes on that. And I think one of the third thing that I had going was favor, grace, and mercy by God, even though I didn't know it. So through it all, my struggles, it wasn't like I made it, it was clean. There were things that helped me, but God's grace, mercy, and favor was really, that was over me without even knowing, because I still had myself in certain precarious positions and environments I shouldn't have been in, even seeking to be better or improving. I was still in places or hanging around people I shouldn't, and God's grace, mercy, and favor led me out to even make it on 5 years supervised federal release, from not being sent back because of certain actions that were sending a lot of other people back. I didn't do it and get here to a point where everything was smooth sailing. I actually ran my head into the wall a few times, knowingly and unknowingly, because it is very difficult out here. And although I didn't give up on myself, sometimes it was just hard, you know? So we're lost until we fully found. And that part, again, is my faith. So my faith has got me to that point. So services are very important. One service that I would love to see for us is like I said, is an adjustment group. Foundations that are set in place for brothers and sisters who are coming home and can fellowship with people who know what they've been through. People like myself, people who have been here, some other brothers that I've been blessed to do this Breaking the Chains outline, and even with the ladies who are putting things together that have a vision and an understanding but may not have the experience. But we are trying to come together so when you come home, or if you've been there, you can come into a family environment, people that know what you've been through, that give you the best advice or be there, give you a shoulder to lean on. That's a great service for having an outreach. You know, I'm prayerfully looking to begin Rebirth, the Youth Foundation, under my Rebirth Enterprise LLC, for something just as that. Me and a couple of brothers from my home church or movement have been moved to provide these type of services because we've been through this already. Also, financial educative services, how to manage money, how to not just go out and earn, because they'll tell you got to get a job, you take care of this, but how to budget, you know, how to plan for your future. Having courses aligned with somebody who was willing to passionately take out time to teach us what to do in this economic state, how to treat and be good stewards over the things that we're given to, and how to be able to see our way out and develop certain plans. And another service that I would definitely like to see is actually going back. So instead of just waiting to come in while they're in, being able to have extra offenders. I know some of these exist, but I mean, I would like to see them because they wasn't there for me. People that are not just having your missionaries and your ministers coming in, but individuals who have been there, going actually back and meeting brothers or sisters before they even get out. To prepare them, you need preparation. You need to hear stuff before it's coming. A lot of times we're just pushed out the door and say you have to survive, don't come back, we don't want to see you again. But we don't even know how that is. For the last whatever amount of years we spent behind a wall, behind a gate, behind a cell. You're told how to do this. Now you just told to go out there, you're not given a manual. For me, I found my manual of life through the Holy Word of God, and I pray that for others, but it may not be the case right now. That has been my foundative guidance of how to live in this environment of freedom. True freedom, not just from prison, but freedom from the bondages of heart, and freedom from the bondages of sin that led me there. You know, so I would like to see a big part of a preparation service, going back in, not just outreach, in-reach, you know, getting there, meet them where they're at, and let them know that they're loved even behind the wall, and let them know they have purpose even behind the cell. So we can just be prepared when we get out, you already have something to stand on, you know, because a lot of times you get out and you're on weak legs. I'll let you be determined of that. I was formerly this, now I'm that. 2021, yes, I'm Donnell Darian, MBA achievement, doctoral student, minister, prophetic visions given by the Lord, and also have an anointed purpose here. So yes, I'm a success story. God bless you, and I thank you.